Hey there, space enthusiasts! Get ready to blast off because today, we're exploring the red planet, Mars. It's one of the most talked about planets in our solar system, but there are still some facts about Mars that might surprise you. Let's dive in. You know Mars, right? The red planet, it's practically a cosmic cliché, but have you ever stopped to wonder why is Mars red anyway? Well, it's all thanks to iron oxide. Imagine a planet covered in rust dust, that's Mars. But here's the thing about Mars, it's not just some monotonous rusty desert. Depending on what light hits it and where you are on the planet, you can actually see other colors peeking through. We're talking golds, browns, tans, even a hint of green in some places. So next time you see a picture of Mars, don't just see red. Look closer, and you'll see a world of fascinating complexity just waiting to be explored. Ever wished days were just a little bit longer? On Mars, you'd get your wish. A day on Mars or a Sol is about 40 minutes longer than an Earth day. Imagine waking up on Mars, having a leisurely Martian breakfast, catching some rays and still having plenty of daylight left for an evening stroll. But here's the catch. A year on Mars is almost twice as long as an Earth year. That's 687 Earth days. So while you might enjoy those extended Martian days, get ready for some seriously long winters or summers. Think of the possibilities. Imagine the research we could do with those long Martian days. And who knows, maybe one day we'll be building Martian beach houses and working on our tans. We humans, we like to think we've got some pretty impressive things going on here on Earth. Mount Everest? Yeah, that's pretty tall. But then you look at Mars, and suddenly, our earthly achievements seem a tad miniature. Mars is home to Olympus Mons, a shield volcano so massive, so gargantuan, that it makes Mount Everest look like a molehill. I'm talking 3 times taller than Everest, people. This behemoth rises a staggering 21 kilometers above the Martian surface. To put that into perspective, if Olympus Mons were on Earth, it would cover an area the size of Arizona. Unlike Earth, where tectonic plates move and shift, creating new volcanoes over time, Mars doesn't have that kind of plate activity. So, for billions of years, Olympus Mons just kept erupting and erupting, lava flowing out and piling up, higher and higher, until it became the monster volcano we see today. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Mars, the red planet, it's gotta be hot, right? Well, I hate to break it to you, but Mars is actually colder than a polar bear's nose in winter. We're talking seriously chilly temperatures here. Imagine this, a balmy summer day on Mars could reach a pleasant 70 degrees Fahrenheit, around the equator. Sounds nice, right? But wait, there's more. As soon as the sun sets, those temperatures plummet faster than a meteor, dropping to a bone-chilling minus 225 degrees Fahrenheit at night. And if that's not enough to make you shiver, let's talk about the Martian atmosphere. It's about 100 times thinner than Earth's, which means it doesn't trap heat very well. So, even if you find yourself sunbathing on a Martian beach, hypothetically of course, you'll need a spacesuit with some serious insulation. Mars is also prone to some seriously intense dust storms. These aren't your average dust devils, folks. We're talking storms so massive, they can engulf the entire planet, lasting for weeks or even months. You know how Earth has its trusty companion, the Moon? Well, Mars likes to do things a little differently. Instead of one moon, it has 2. Meet Phobos and Deimos, the Martian moons. Now I'll be honest, they're not exactly the most impressive moons in the solar system. In fact, they're kind of like the cosmic equivalent of potatoes, small, lumpy, and not exactly spherical. But don't let their appearance fool you. These little moons hold secrets about Mars's past. Phobos, the larger of the two, is a real nail-biter. It's slowly but surely getting closer to Mars. In about 50 million years or so, it's either going to crash into Mars in a spectacular display of cosmic fireworks, or it might get torn apart by Mars's gravity, creating a ring system around the planet. Imagine that! Mars with rings just like Saturn. Deimos, on the other hand, is a bit of a rebel. It's slowly drifting away from Mars. Here's a fun fact for you. Mars might be called the red planet, but if we're talking size, it's more like the little red planet. You see, Mars is actually much smaller than you might think. It's about half the size of Earth in diameter. To put that into perspective, if Earth were a basketball, Mars would be about the size of a softball. And it's not just the diameter where Mars falls short, its mass is even less impressive. We're talking 1/10 the mass of Earth. On Mars, you'd experience about 38% of the gravity you feel here on Earth. That means you could jump higher, throw things farther, and probably feel pretty light on your feet. Imagine, walking on Mars would be like bouncing on the moon. It'd be like having a permanent trampoline park all around you. Alright, let's talk about the air we breathe, or rather, the air you wouldn't want to breathe on Mars. The Martian atmosphere is pretty inhospitable to us oxygen-breathing life forms. I'm talking about a whopping 95.32% carbon dioxide. Now here on Earth we've got plants to thank for converting that CO2 into breathable oxygen. But on Mars? Not so much. Imagine trying to take a deep breath on Mars. You'd basically be sucking down a lungful of carbon dioxide, which, as you can imagine, wouldn't end well. So, what does this mean for our Martian dreams? Well, it means we can't just pack our bags and move to Mars without some serious planning. You know how Earth has those majestic ice caps at the North and South poles? Well, guess what? Mars has them too. That's right, even on this seemingly desolate planet, you'll find icy landscapes that might remind you of home. Now these aren't your average ice caps. Instead of just being made of water ice like our polar caps, Mars's ice caps are a mixture of water ice and something called dry ice. Dry ice is just frozen carbon dioxide, the same stuff that makes up most of Mars's atmosphere. But here's the thing, dry ice doesn't melt like regular ice. It sublimates, meaning it goes directly from a solid to a gas. Imagine vast shimmering plains of water ice, interspersed with patches of dry ice that vanish into thin air as the Martian sun warms them. These ice caps hold vital clues about Mars's past climate and maybe even its potential for harboring life. Now, I know what you're thinking. Mars? Active? But it looks like a dead, dusty world. Well, don't let those red rocks fool you. Mars might seem quiet on the surface, but beneath that dusty exterior lies a planet that's still very much alive. Geologically speaking, that is. We're talking massive dust storms that can engulf the entire planet, ancient riverbeds carved into the landscape, and evidence of past volcanic activity that makes Mount Vesuvius look like a hiccup. Remember Olympus Mons, that monstrous volcano we talked about earlier? That's not just some ancient relic. Scientists believe it might still be active, which means it could erupt again someday. Imagine the cosmic fireworks if that happens. And then there's Valles Marineris, a canyon system so grand, so awe-inspiring, that it makes the Grand Canyon look like a ditch. This colossal scar on the Martian surface stretches for over 4,000 kilometers, making it the largest canyon in the entire solar system. So while Mars might not have lush forests or flowing rivers, at least not anymore, it's far from being a dead planet. It's a dynamic, evolving world with a rich geological history. Here's a thought that'll really get your cosmic gears turning. What if I told you that you, yes you, could be living on Mars someday? I'm not talking about some distant future centuries from now. I'm talking about within our lifetime. NASA, along with other space agencies and private companies, are working tirelessly to make human missions to Mars a reality. And they're not just talking about sending astronauts for a quick visit. They're talking about establishing a permanent human presence on the red planet. Imagine this. Stepping out of your spacecraft onto the surface of Mars, the red dust crunching beneath your boots, the thin atmosphere pressing against your suit, the two moons, Phobos and Deimos, hanging in the sky. Of course, living on Mars wouldn't be easy. It would be a challenging, demanding environment, but it would also be an incredible adventure, a chance to push the boundaries of human ingenuity and explore a whole new world. We'd need to develop sustainable ways to live, to grow food, to generate energy, to protect ourselves from the harsh Martian environment. There you have it. 10 surprising facts about Mars. Which one blew your mind the most? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more space adventures. Until next time, keep looking up.